You mentioned Wheel of Fortune. What was that like getting the job?
Well, that was, and I think most folks know, that was birth by fire for me. I was working in my studio at our home in Beverly Hills at the time. It was late at night. It was 10:30-ish, 11 o'clock-ish. And the phone rang, and it was Harry Friedman, the executive producer of Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. And he said, "Hi, Rich. This is Harry Friedman, executive producer of Wheel of Fortune Jeopardy." I said, "Hi, Harry." I had never met Harry, never talked to him before.
Okay.
And I was thinking, how did he get my phone? I said, "Hi, Harry. A pleasure to meet you." And he said, "Well, I hope you don't mind. I got your telephone number from your agent, Fred Westbrook, who I just spoke with, and he said, I should give you a call." And I said, "Sure. What's up?" And I was perplexed. He said, "Well, I'm going to tell you something that not a whole lot of people know right now. Everybody's going to find out tomorrow morning. The news will be released, but Charlie O'Donnell passed away earlier today." I was shocked. Charlie was one of my idols. Johnny Olson, Charlie O'Donnell. I mean, they were the people that I would listen to and go, "Wow, that's how to do it." Okay, cool. I wouldn't try to mimic their voice, but just their professionalism and the way they enunciated and everything. Just really, those two guys really made a huge effect on my career. And so he said, Charlie O'Donnell passed away. I was like, "Oh my God." I said, "What happened?" He said, "Well, I can't get into all that. Everybody will find out tomorrow. But I need to know, are you free and clear of The Price is Right?" And I was. And he said, "Okay." He said, "Will you come in and for the interim and announce shows on Wheel of Fortune for Charlie, who's passed away?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I'd be honored." But absolutely. When do you need
To
me?
follow your idol.
Absolutely. I said, "When do you need me?" And he said, "Tomorrow morning at 8:30, Sony Studios in Culver City." And I was like, "Oh my God." In my head, I was like, "Oh my God." But right away, I was like, "Sure, sure." I've always learned, by the way, and this is great advice for anybody in life: say yes. Say yes and be agreeable right away. Immediately if you want to do it or not. Don't think out loud, "Gee, well, I wonder if or any of that, or, "Well, let me get back to." Don't do that. Say yes immediately. I've lost things in life by not saying yes immediately, or
Okay.
or saying, "Give me some time," or, "Let me speak with my wife," or, "Let me talk with my agent or team." I've lost things because of that. So I've learned to just go yes, immediately. "Sure, you got it. Okay." And so it was that quick. It was that much of birth by fire. Charlie passes away one day. Next day, I'm at Sony Studios in the Wheel of Fortune Jeopardy studios, and it was difficult. I'll tell you. Walking in there, the staff, by the way, had just found out that morning because the world was going to find out later that day.
Yeah.
And it was like death in there, David. It was. You could
Hard.
feel
Yeah.
it. You could feel it in the air. Everybody was so down, and they all had to work. They all had to work that day.
Yeah. It's a very crazy uh, coincidence for that to happen, unfortunately. Um, and I bet, Pat and Ben were very nice to you, like always.
Oh yeah, Pat and Vanna were very pleasant with me.
And
I can
understand.
remember Harry Friedman showing me my dressing room, which was Charlie's dressing room, and they had taken all of Charlie's belongings out of it. And after I put my bags down and stuff, he said, "Hey, I want to introduce you to the host of our show, Pat and Vanna. Come on across the hall." And it was damn near across the hall, maybe down the way a
Yeah.
little bit. He knocked on Vanna White's door. I think there was this little star on it that said Vanna or something. And she come in, and Pat was in there sitting. There was more of a lounge area than the other dressing rooms. The stars that, pardon me, they always have like couches and end tables and coffee tables and chairs. I mean, they look like real living rooms there. Their dressing rooms, but mine never looked that way. I mean, I did have a sofa, but anyway, nonetheless, Pat was in there as well, and they were talking about the day. They were talking about Charlie, as a matter of fact. And
Yeah.
Harry Friedman said, "I wanted to introduce to you Rich Fields. I told you guys that he was coming in today." And Pat right away stood up, and he was like, "Rich, welcome to the show." And I think the first thing he said was, "You're coming in under very difficult circumstances, and we understand that."
Yeah.
So right away, again, it was almost like the Bob Barker telling me when I told him, I hope I don't screw it up. And he turned around and said, don't
Yeah.
worry if you do, don't worry if you do. When Pat said, we understand that. You're coming in under very difficult circumstances, and we understand that. That really put me a lot at ease. I felt so much better because, I pride myself on being a professional and a professional announcer. I'll announce anything.
Yes.
Even though they were two different styles. Price is Right is "Come on down," and Wheel of Fortune is "Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Sajak and Vanna White." Completely different reads, completely different deliveries. I knew I could do it, and
Which one was sorry to interrupt, but which one was harder to announce?
harder. Oh, Price is Right by far.
Yeah.
Price is Right is a stack of copy. I mean, that you can see the script back there. That's actually the script, my script, the only script from Bob's last show, autographed by Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
Uh,
script on Price is Right is really thick, and you have to read it quickly, because they need the time for the show and to play the games. Reading the audience or the prize descriptions
it's live.
is not premier to the show. You know what I mean? It's not the most important thing of the show. It's the host and the contestant and playing the game. So you got to be crisp, clear, clean, and fast. Quickly. You have to read it quickly, not not like the speeding bullet quickly. It's got to be understandable quickly. You know.
I think Price is Right is one of the hardest game shows to either host or announce.
Bob says in an interview, it's out there on the internet someplace. Google, why did Bob Barker pick Rich Fields to be the announcer of The Price is Right? And there's a video of Bob
Uh,
talking exactly about what we're talking about, how it's a stack of copy. You got to be crisp and clear, and he's got to read it quickly. This is all in there. And he says this is the hardest show in television to announce. And he's right. He
and it's
wasn't
live
kidding.
tape too. It's, it's
And Bob picked me. Yeah. Yeah.
it's all live. There's no. I mean, back then anyway, it was all live. You know.
Right, exactly. It was all live to tape, we call it.
Yeah.
And in the Bob era, the entire show was shot pretty much in real time. I mean, what you saw on TV was exactly how long it took us. There was no editing of Bob in the games, none, zero. Bob didn't put up with that at all. Uh, if there was a stop down of a 3-minute commercial break, well, in the studio, we would stop down for 2 minutes and 59 seconds, and the director would say, "Stand by, Bob, here we go." And Bob, "Rich, what's the next name on your list?" "Bob, it's going to be," and bam, we were right back to it.
Yeah.
So, and during that 3 minutes, as you well know from your visit, Bob's
Yeah.
he's talking with the audience and he's laughing and joking or introducing other famous people that may have showed up at that day's show. So it's amazing how quickly that show flies, or used to fly taping wise when Bob was there.